Fatherhood isn't easy, but in Autismland, it's a journey like no other. Join Mark de Grasse as we explore the highs, lows, and everything in between of raising children on the autism spectrum. With real stories, practical advice, and a touch of humor, we're here to navigate this unique journey together. For dads navigating life on the autism spectrum, you're not alone.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark de Grasse, host of Dads In Autismland. Welcome to the show. Today I have a special guest, Matt Anderton, and today we're talking about his son Beckett, who's 3 years old, and they have a unique situation where they actually got the diagnosis fairly early, and he's been able to do a lot of research and kind of plan out what's going to happen in terms of schooling and therapy, and so we're going to dive into that today. So welcome, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Mark.
All right. So, we kind of talked before the show and your journey is actually pretty unique. A lot of, the autism dads that we have on and I'm included didn't kind of get the diagnosis until like 3, 4, 5. And you got it at 1. So let's just start there, kind of like, how it was before and then, how the switch happened where you kind of noticed the difference.
Oh, yes, sir. So, yeah, everything, first year of his life was mostly normal. He was walking early. He was talking. He had probably 20 plus words, could say, I love you. It was the cutest thing. And right at a year old, he just switched. It was almost like completely obvious because it was just, went from zero to nothing to everything, all those symptoms. The only thing we really did notice before was he had sensitivities to like gluten and dairy. So that was probably the biggest red flag we had. But I feel like we were kind of fortunate because it was so obvious to us that we knew like immediately we needed to take action. And so pretty much by the time he was 13 months, my wife, of just luck, fortune, just happened to have good friends that one was an OT, one was a speech therapist. So we started in-home therapies right away. We went to our doctor because he was having real bad like rashes with the eczema and just from all the sensitivities. And he told us like at basically 13 months, like, yeah, he believed he was on the spectrum. And he that day prescribed us something for the eczema. And so on the way home, me and my wife were talking and we're like, we got 2 choices. We could put him on this prescription for the rest of his life, or we could figure this out and figure out what's causing it. And it really just led us down a path of like, we found an amazing pediatrician that's very active in the autism community. Like her practice specializes with neurodiversity. We found a functional medicine practitioner. His name is Spencer Dupree. Amazing. Like he has been the most influential on just getting his nutrition dialed in, really just getting his body functioning as good as possible. So these therapies can be, as productive as possible.
Oh, that's amazing. Like I said, I mean, I think you really got the jump on it, and we're very aware, and then but then you took the next step, which is gain super educated on it before he's even in school. Now you mentioned that he was talking before. Is he still talking, or does he have any verbal?
So he lost everything immediately, all the way up until probably 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. He had just sounds. And then we started, so we do, I'm big on nutrition. So we are so lucky, like, because we found out so early and because he was gluten and dairy free, it extremely limited his diet to a very organic diet. And so like I listen to all your episodes and, one of the common things I see is like just how limited the diet is. And it is limited, but luckily we've been able to like have a really good diet. And I mean, he doesn't eat vegetables, but we supplement with like a It's a green vegetable supplement. We so we started a glutathione supplement, and it's like a detox. It's what your all of our it's what our livers produce whenever like you drink beer or something. It's what your liver is going to use to like pull the alcohol out. So we started that, and immediately within like a couple of days, he said his ABCs for the first time. So we've over the last few months we've seen a lot of progress. Not sentences or nothing, but we're hopeful.
Oh, that's
And then the
amazing.
therapies, I think the therapies help out a ton.
Yeah, and then that's really what we kind of stuck to too, which is like as soon as you could get them into therapy and start all the different techniques, or at least try them, the sooner you're gonna potentially get results. For us, we ended up in ABA therapy because he's so severe. Where it's kind of like it was for me. I think that's when I kind of accepted personally, where I was trying to teach him how to like open a door. And at that point, we had his younger brother who was only 10 months younger. And I'm like, oh well, I taught Declan how to do it really quick, and then try to teach Damien. It was like, nope, he's not connecting with it. But that's amazing that he's saying ABCs. I mean, that's a huge step. So what was
Mm.
the when you initially saw the switch? Was it just kind of like everything, all the development had stopped? Like he went from talking and interacting to just not doing those things, or was he stemming, or what was the kind of
It
sign that
was
you saw?
it was like it was like he was not there. Like you
Mm.
couldn't get his attention. We thought he went deaf at first because we were like, he just isn't paying attention to nothing. We can't get his attention. And but then after a couple of weeks, we realized like there was a noise that we barely heard, and
Mm.
it was something that he like. I don't remember what it even was. Maybe like one of his Miss Rachel shows or something. And he come run like he heard it. So we're like, okay, it's not that. And then just really, it started to get like the meltdowns started to get kind of wild. The stimming, the jumping. He just really started getting all the symptoms.
Mm.
So yeah, it was. You could tell really quickly on.
No, that's
That's
yeah, that's right. Well, just for you personally, like because I like to know, what the parents are feeling, especially the dads. I mean, how did you kind of take that? Did you? Because for me, I kind of went through like, oh, maybe it's a phase, or maybe it's like, just a delay. Were you pretty accepting, or because I know you had a lot of professionals around you?
that's a good question. Which good point to get into. So you know, as I was at the time, I was working 70, 80 hours a week. Um, so it was kind of easy for me to compartmentalize and kind of I felt like I was doing my part, doing the research, figuring stuff out, and providing the money. Um, but after about a year, I realized that like it wasn't enough because the meltdowns were getting really violent, and my wife works from home, and so
Mm.
she was around it all day alone, and so I actually dove even deeper. Like, so I realized that we needed to make a complete change. That it was just getting too much for both of them, too hard at this time. At this age, all 3 year olds, 2 year olds are difficult, but it was just so I actually left my job and now just work like part time gig jobs, and so I'm full involved, do all the appointments, and that's been a lot of help because that was, I told you before the podcast, he loves outdoors. And so now it's like every day we're able to get him outside. He like being stuck inside on a rain day. Oh, it's meltdown city. Hates it. So now with that I have the time, like me and him are able to get out. He's living his best life.
Oh, that's so cool. What does he do outside? Does he just like to, run around or playgrounds, or what's his activity?
He basketball. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
basketball.
He is
Ha.
obsessed with basketball. Like it's kind of troublesome because like if a bunch of adults are out there playing full court, He thinks he could be right in the middle, like still in the ball. And so like I have to take him earlier in the day when I know there's not going to be a lot of people out there. Um, that's like, and we'll just run back and forth, just dribbling, like doing drills basically. But he's just laughing the whole time, loving it. He loves like merry-go spinning, anything spinning. Like we'll go on the tire swing and for an hour, and like he'll be by himself, so I have to like stay in the middle and keep the weight distributed. So like I'm spinning for an hour too.
It's a
So
lot of work.
yeah, but also too, I love that like I'm 40. I'm ready to like kind of slow down, but he's gonna keep me very active, like healthier a lot longer. So in that way, I'm pretty fortunate.
That's awesome. And that's actually I credit my son with my whole, physical transformation because I think it was about 3 years ago. I was like, all right, wow. My son's gonna be big, like 6'5", 300 pounds. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I gotta be able to keep up with him, because it's like who else is gonna handle him other than me? And
Yeah.
also, and I think that's why the step that you took to, leave your job and essentially, kind of take on this thing full time. Like that's so admirable because honestly, it's like, yeah, if you had the job, you could pay for the, potentially to get the help, but then the help, well, qualified help is super expensive.
Mm,
And even then it's still not the same as you being there. And they're only this age for so long. So I think that's a huge, awesome step that you took. And you get to learn about everything and really support your wife too, because that's I saw the same thing where I was just like, oh my gosh, because I had a job for a few years. I'm more entrepreneurial, so I am always unemployed, not unemployed, but you're doing your own thing.
right. Right.
But yeah, I
Your own
saw
boss.
that. Yeah, because I'm like, well, when you have the job, it's like you can't say no. Like, hey, I gotta leave early today every single day,
Right.
or I can't go
Or it's
on
a
that
bad
business
day.
trip. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Or he
bad day,
woke
and
up at 2 this morning and
oh,
it's just sorry, I can't do it today. After the fifth or sixth time, they're like, I don't know about this.
yeah, yeah. It's well, and then even the most understanding business is kind of like, well, we still need the work done, So what
Yeah.
are we gonna do? But yeah, the sleep. Actually, let's talk about sleep because I remember when my actually as soon as I had my second son who was colic, it was basically like second son was colic. For like 4 months, and so he didn't sleep. And then I think as soon as the colic was over, the autism symptoms like really started showing. And then my son started getting up between like 1 and 5 every day, and then was just up and was just running around, tearing crap up. So yeah, we didn't sleep for a solid, I want to say like 5 years, 5 years of like not complete sleep. Is that basically what you're doing now, or are there good nights or bad nights?
Uh, it's pretty mixed with us. I mean, um, I would say it's 50-50. Like we have good nights probably half the week, and then there'll be times where he'll go on a 3 or 4 day stretch where he's
Mhm.
waking up at 3, 4 in the morning, and he'll stay awake till about 6, and then want to fall back. He'll fall back asleep.
Oh,
But it's time for you. Like my wife goes to work at 6:30, and so it's like you know, so we go through it back and forth with the sleep. I feel like it's part of it. It's also three. I feel like all
yeah, 3
3-year-olds
is.
probably have that problem. So uh,
Do you switch off, or is it mainly you get up?
no, we both help out. He's a little bit like he wants her more. That's
Oh, okay.
she is
Oh,
his
yeah.
person,
That's
and so
yeah.
that kind of like I try to help out more as much as possible. But at the end of the day, he's like, "Oh, let's go in there and get mama." And I'm like, "No, let's go keep reading the books," or. So bless her heart, she does quite a bit too. Um,
No,
yeah,
no, that's hard, but yeah, that's just part of it too. Because I went through that. I know exactly what you're going through because it's just like because you feel guilty because you're like, well, I was your turn last night, and then now. you get to sleep and then you don't get to sleep. So yeah, no, but I think that kind of passes. I think for my son, eventually he just got, like whatever, I'm just gonna do my own thing. But for me, it was always laying in bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, was that door opening? And then I like look around and I'm like, okay, maybe it was in my head. It was in my head. He's still asleep. And then it was never that. I was like, oh God, he's opening cabinets. It's gonna be a mess
Oh,
out there. But no, I think that's awesome. And it is, I think for anybody who has kids under 5, I'm always like, just survive. You'll you'll be okay.
right.
Just get through this. Don't do anything
Make it through.
drastic. Make it through. My son actually recently, I want to say in the last like year, maybe year and a half, because it was like every night. And then for a while, it was like he'd go through like a bad, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then he'd sleep for a little bit. And then it was like once a month. And then now it's like he's pretty consistently in bed. He's tricky though. He's almost 13 now. He's going to be 13 in June, where I think he gets up sometimes and he's super quiet. Like he
Hmm.
knows,
Yeah.
and he'll go and do. I think he always looks for remote controls to turn on the TV, and so we have a closet that's locked, and we put every night. I go through the house and collect everything and put it in this closet, and then I think he gets bored and then he goes back to sleep. So, yeah, it's it's you'll figure it out, but that's awesome that you'll at least attempt to kind of switch off because yeah, that could be draining after
Mm.
not that much time. And you get to learn what really tired is. I always laugh at people who don't have kids that are like, I'm tired. I'm like, you don't. You've never been tired.
Yeah. But,
Hey, Dad. Yeah, you. The one who stayed up researching sensory toys at 2 a.m. The one learning about IEPs while watching game highlights. We see you. The Pathfinder Collective is where dads like us connect beyond the podcast. No judgment, just real talk about raising kids on the spectrum. $50 gets you lifetime access to our Facebook group, bi-monthly workshops with experts who actually get it, and yeah, a free shirt to replace that one with all the inexplicable stains. Because sometimes you need more than advice. You need another dad who nods and says, same here, man. Go to dadsinautismland.com/pathfinder.
I was never tired. Well, let's talk about that. Like, okay, so you're not sleeping too much, pretty full time, care. How do you rest? Because I know there's not a lot of time for that.
uh, we we try to just help each other out, really. Like we really work at this as a team, and so like that's part of the reason why, because I'm home every day. Like I'll take him places and
Mm,
to give her a breather. She also like we kind of make it a deal where like once or twice a month, like she'll go have dinner with her friends,
mm.
and so just to kind of get that where you're not thinking about anything, that mental break. Um, and then just strict routines. We try to we know like he goes to bed around like 9:30, and yeah, we kind of want to stay up and watch a movie, but we know that
Yep.
there's an
Might
alarm
be up
clock that's
soon.
definitely going off at 7:30 and may go off at 4. So you got to be careful. Maybe we'll only watch half the movie tonight and finish it tomorrow.
That's that, but that's still good. You get a little bit of hangout time. I think we found the same thing. Now I'm just kind of like, hey, if you're gonna stay up, then I'm going to bed immediately, and I'll try to get in bed at
Yeah.
like 9:30 or something. But doesn't usually work out. It's usually like 10:30, 11, unless I have to stay up. So my son now he sleeps through the night, but he doesn't want to go to bed ever, and so it's kind of
Oh,
like most of the time I try to put him in bed at like 11 and then I'll wait up another half an hour because he might get up and I want to say, go back to bed. Somebody has to be up to tell him. But now, yeah, no, but it's tricky. And I'm actually not a night person. I'm like, I want to go to sleep and I'm better in the morning. But now he doesn't want to get up in the morning. So he sometimes like on the weekends he'll actually sleep till like 9 or 10. Like now he's a
oh
teenager, so
wow.
it's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I'm getting so much work done. But that's
Quiet in the
amazing.
morning.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's you know, for me it's like I like getting up early if I've had sleep. It's really just the unknowable where it's like
Mm.
you might be getting up early and you might
Yeah.
not be getting up early. So yeah, it's tough. But that's awesome. And I know the stress, the mental toll it takes to do all the research, what's going to happen, what happens when we get older. Like you start going through like all these different things. And for that, I'll say eventually, well, it depends. I've talked to dads where they that's like their main drive, where it's like, okay, I'm getting ready for the future when I'm not around. I want them taken care of and all these different things. And I'm kind of in between where I'm like, yeah, I want to worry about that, but also I think that's just the state of the world right now where I'm like, who knows what's going to happen? And I'm still kind of hopeful like maybe things will get better and there will be resources where it's not up to you personally to figure out autism, you know?
Right. Right.
Because
I
I
think we're
think
moving in the right direction with
I think
that.
so.
Like, I mean, I think all the time, like we met in Austin, and I met this lovely lady. We still text. She sends me just yesterday. She texted me a resource, um, and her son is 45, I think,
Hmm.
and like I'm just it. I feel bad, but I am grateful that it happened now. Like I couldn't imagine 40 years ago trying to
Oh,
figure this out and try to watching what I see my son going through and have nobody that could help or just this podcast. Like it's been you feel alone sometimes because you your best friends don't understand it.
hmm.
You know they say they want to understand, but they don't they don't. And even like I have several friends that are dads that have kids, and it's just they're busy with their own struggles to so this podcast has been a great help to just hear other dads going through it and like just I laugh, I cry listening to it because I'm like, yep, that's same. And so it we live in I believe we're headed in the right direction. Yeah,
Well,
and
well, the gratitude you have for all the things you've been able to do so far, and you're so right. I actually never really thought about that, but yeah, 40 years ago, like, hey, my kid's different. Like, oh my
mhm.
gosh, I don't
They were
know.
probably doing electroshock. Who knows what they were doing back
Oh,
then?
who
But
knows? I mean, it's or just nothing. It's kind of I think recently, I think since the whole RFK speech, like there's been a lot more videos of like, hey, here's what, severe or profound or level 3, whatever you want to call it, autism looks like, and it's not what people think it is because mainly because the media, and even that I'm sort of thankful for because I'm like I'm glad like there's some awareness about autism. It's just
mm,
there's a big difference between like the high functioning where it's like, oh yeah, they have issues, but they're also MIT graduates or
you're
doctors
right.
or it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm looking forward to like not changing diapers. Like
yes,
that's my goal
yes.
in life. We're still, I think we're on year, because we've tried whole bunch of different times, and we're on like year like 5 of training, and so that would be incredible, So I think your expectations change a little bit, and who knows for your son because he's still so young, where it's like, and you're getting all the right treatments. What would you say, just in terms of the treatments, what would you say has been the most helpful in terms of just daily life?
Honestly, I think really getting his nutrition dialed in has been very helpful. Um, Supplementation on the stuff that he can't do. Um, we do the detox, the glutathione. I highly recommend. Um,
Write that one
I
down.
think vitamin D. That was I think getting him outside all the time, getting him active, and getting him in the sunlight. Um, Really, just getting his body functioning right. Because if he's not, if his body is kind of going crazy, like I feel like he's not going to be able to focus very well on the ABA or the speech, and um, so I think that was probably the hardest, because there's a lot of experimentation because he is so sensitive. Um, one thing we figured out, that took us about a year to figure out, was chlorine. He's highly sensitive to chlorine, and just he got sick one week, and we we started giving him more showers to get the steam to break everything up, and he just broke out bad. And so I was like, let's go a week with no showers and see what happens. Where we just use baby wipes,
What?
cleared up. Um, so just figuring out how to get their body, what they're sensitive to, what they're not, get their guts working right, and then once we figured that out, just very proactive, um, every doing everything we can to like get him the speech and the therapies so far.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, and I think the diet, I mean, that's something even, we struggle with just because he's constantly hungry and it's just like, oh my gosh, like what food
Mm-hmm.
can we yeah, give him where he'll just be okay for a bit. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. And I think for him it's almost like a, like a stemming thing, like just eating, because he's hyposensitive, so he actually craves like input. So he used to do a lot more, but he'll like walk around with bell peppers and like cucumbers and just eat it the whole time. You're like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
he was healthier, and now he's kind of like, no, I'll have pancakes. Pancakes are
Yeah.
the filler. So now that's awesome. Actually, in regards to snacks, what's the snack? Is there a go-to?
He loves applesauce.
Oh,
That's like that's probably like his probably go to. We limit it because we try to. I don't try to have too much sugar. We won't let it have it like past like 6 o'clock. Um, we get these pouches from. They have them at Walmart and Target that are serendipity pouches. They're like beef and chicken, and they're just like a
oh
kind of like
yeah.
a liquid meat, but easy to take on the go. He loves them to death. Um, they're all it's all like meat, but they got a little bit of vegetable stuff in it. Um, we'll take bacon. That's probably his
Oh,
favorite.
bacon.
Yeah, he loves bacon. Like I'll break it in little pieces, or like fruit pieces, like strawberries. Um, and he does he's kind of the same way. Like eats all day.
Mhm.
Just little kind of grazes. We'll have a big breakfast and a big dinner, but the rest of the day is very snackish.
Yeah, okay. That's good. At least he has a range. Sometimes you talk, the chicken nuggets, like it's only chicken nuggets, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's no
Yeah,
nutrition in that at all. Which is,
we've
you
tried
know,
real hard to like keep like one of the things I did was okay, what are the common symptoms or behaviors like socialization? There a lot of times I hear like it's hard to go out in public, the noise, and so at 1 year old we started a routine where we go out to Texas Roadhouse once a week before we get groceries. It is loud in there, especially on a birthday, and it's his favorite thing.
hmm,
Ribeye is probably ribeye or bacon is one of his favorite things. Um,
nice. Real
and
Texan.
yeah, and he loves being in there, and that helps us to now where we can take him almost sports he doesn't do good at because of that high pitch like noise that
Mhm.
woo. Um, so we've tried to like maybe like we wanted to take him to like a minor league baseball game, maybe see if it's
Huh?
a little quieter. Um, but yeah, just trying to figure out like, okay, what are some of the things that hinder them? Let's try to like get him like one of his like when we take him to the park now, he loves getting people, putting them in a circle because he knows when a few adults get in a circle, we just start talking,
Uh,
and he'll just sit
listen
there
all at
like,
once.
oh, he'll be just watching and listening
Oh.
and right in the middle of it. Um, so yeah,
Oh, that's great.
it,
Well, it sounds like, well, and I think that's a great technique where it's like if there's something that they have trouble with, like kind of getting them acclimated to it early, is a good
Mhm.
technique because we have friends where it's just like they can't go anywhere without the headphones, or our friend he hates like birds chirping, so it's like literally any time that he goes outside, if he hears birds chirping, he gets he'll hit his head on an iPad or do something not good. And so we're thankful for that for Damien. He hasn't had that. I will say, and this is you can see if this is the same with you, but he's very intolerant of other autistic kids a lot of the time. Because he's in full-time ABA therapy, so he sees them, and actually
Mhm.
that was one of the kind of the goals for us was just like, okay, can he tolerate the behavior of this other autistic kid, and then for how long before, and he's actually gotten better, and that's part of the ABA therapy. But that's amazing that you're already getting him out there. He's active. He likes arranging people. That's pretty funny. And just being around them, which is cool. And the
Yeah.
basketball. My son
Yeah.
also just started being interested in basketball at the therapy place where he's literally trying to get to it all day, and so they have to like redirect him. But no, that's great. I think you guys are doing a great job, and you're really, kind of be getting after it, which I think is a great, way to be. Because even at 3 years old, I'm like, man, at 3 years old, we were still really trying to figure stuff out and get the diagnosis. So for those other dads out there that have, maybe young kids or maybe just learn that they're, on the spectrum, what would you recommend just in terms of like mindset and kind of moving forward?
Uh, Number one is you're not alone. Like this podcast shows that like there are a lot of us out there. Reach out to Mark. He can give you some advice. I would say just be involved as much as you can. I know it's hard for everybody. Um, I it's definitely a two-person job, really a 10-person job. I've seen. We have probably about 5 or 6 people in our lives that are we couldn't do it without them. There's gonna be hard days, especially when they're young, but there's also really good days. So just realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and keep pushing. You got to do it for them.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice, and even just the looking for help, because I think that's probably one of the greatest lessons I've had in this experience with autism, where it's like I can't do everything myself, and I shouldn't do everything myself, and there are people out there that are not just willing to help you, but they want to. And that's
Hmm.
why I think like the therapists out there, I'm just like, you're a saint. Like I say the same thing to our babysitters at this point. I'm like, you're a saint for helping us
Yeah.
out with this. Now, you did mention a couple of specific ones. The people helping you. You want to talk about them?
Yes. So we have our doctor, our pediatrician. She's amazing. Um, she's probably one of the more helpful people. And then uh, specifically our functional medicine practitioner. His name is Spencer Dupree. His practice is in Argyle. He is amazing. Like he knows about nutrition. He knows his stuff, and he knows how to explain it in a way to where like anyone can understand it. So helpful. He's just been amazing. Like he's by far been like I like 2 weeks ago we were out to eat, and me and my wife were talking about they're putting on like a speech camp this summer, and he's actually sponsoring Beckett to go through it. And I just broke down. I was like, because sometimes you feel like I said, you feel alone. You feel like, is anybody out here helping us? And then there will be a few people that will stand out in their lives, and Spencer is one of those guys that I love him.
That's amazing. Well, we'll definitely have to link if he's looking for business. I'm always trying to find like, okay, where's the resources? Because that can be really hard, and it is draining still. And if you're an autism family, like you don't have a lot of time, or maybe even the patience, where you're just like, okay, now I gotta go call. like 20 doctors and find the right one
Hmm.
or the one that will take the autism cases. So yeah, we're trying to put together, kind of a list of these resources just so people know, like, hey, here's a starting point. Might not be the end solution, but at least you get an idea. And most of them do free consults, and so you could, figure that out. So I definitely echo that, where it's like, yeah, just reach out, ask for help. You don't have to do anything. You just
Right.
need to know that that's an option. But these have been fantastic tips. I really appreciate you, coming on and really the effort you're putting into the situation because, like you said, like, you left your job for basically staying at home to help, essentially full time. And that's a huge step. And a lot of people, might not even think about that because it's like, well, there's no way I could leave this or whatever. It's like, the sooner you get on top of it, the better. And if that's what it takes, and you could, and your family could handle it financially, I would say it's a good decision because it's hard to find good help in that sense of like, full time assistance. And so that might be that best option for you. So I think that you're an excellent example in that.
We definitely had to like adjust like our thinking. Like we had a very nice house, had like, you know, we were chasing the American dream, you know, and I needed that job to provide all that. And so after a while, it was like, do we keep doing what we're doing, struggling, or do we just change our whole life? And we decided we sold the house. We moved in with family. That gave us, actually, my mother-in-law, my wife's mom, and she works for the school district and she's very involved in autism or special education. So that's been very, very helpful. And, you know, like we've talked about like this short term just to help get him to the next stage in life, but it's worth it. It was a sacrifice, but at the end of the day, it's helped him greatly for sure.
Well, I think you're doing an amazing job. So, yeah, I think I just have one last question. I try to end this with kind of a funny, autism dad question. Okay. How many snacks is too many snacks, or is that a trick question?
Uh, you can't have too many snacks because you don't know what they're gonna like that day. The
Oh, that's a
snack
good
that worked
answer.
yesterday is not gonna work today. You
That's
gotta have
great.
a variety.
That's actually a really good tip. I think that's just a final note on yeah, just kids in general, where it's like when you think you have something figured out, you don't, and
Yep.
keep going and try again. Well, that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much, Matt. This has been fantastic talking to you. I really admire all the steps that you've taken to kind of take on the situation to provide for Beckett and your wife, and I think you're doing it right. And keep going because it's a long journey.
Thank you for this
Not
podcast.
anything.
Like it's nice to see that there are other dads out there that are going through the same thing. So it's been a good community.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. We'll keep on making these episodes and collecting those resources because I think that's one thing that I realized. It's like, well, they could find anything online. It's like, yeah, they could find anything online. Like, so we're trying to curate that list and kind of narrow it down for people and just provide the options because I think that's the biggest overwhelming
Mm,
thing you have as like a new autism parent where it's like, okay, there's 1,000 different options and all these different techniques and which one should I do? And the fact of the matter is that your situation is unique. Nobody's actually gone through it, even though there are lots of autism kids. Your kid is unique, and your
right.
situation, your financial situation, your personal situation, all that stuff is unique. So you literally have to come up with a custom solution. And I think once you accept that and you're just like, okay, well, I got to try a bunch of stuff, that it makes it a lot simpler. Just I think that's what we're good at doing it as dads is just like task done. Okay, what's the next
Yep.
task? And we're just good. Just that's how we want to think. I'm never good at just like, well, just float. Like, nope,
Yeah.
I need a list. That's how I get stuff done. Well,
Yep.
thanks a lot, Matt. Really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you, Mark.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Dads in Autismland podcast. And like Matt said, you're not alone. There's a lot of us going through the same thing. And the more we talk about it, the more we share tips and techniques, I think the better off we're all going to be. So please subscribe. And if you are an autism dad, reach out. There's no qualifications necessary other than your willingness to be open about your experience. So if you are interested, please sign up and we'd love to have you.